Hello, friends, and welcome to the Little Woman podcast. It has been a while since I read a fanfic here. This story takes place between Little Woman and a Little Man. Jo and Friedrich are waiting for their first child, and Jo is very much pregnant. I don't really have anything else to add. It is an adorable story. If there is someone there who does not know, in the books, Jo and Friedrich do get 2 sons. Rob and Ted. I believe in the future episodes of this podcast we shall be discussing about them as well. If you guys love this podcast, feel free to share it with people who you think might be interested. And as always, you can find my Little Woman books from Amazon and from Gumroad. All the links are in the description. This is Little Woman podcast. A month in the hue of this. A month in the hue of this by MiddleMarch. Liebchen, what is this? Friedrich said as he stood up again, holding a leaf carefully by its stem. He was regarding it quizzically, with far more study than Jo felt an autumn leaf could possibly merit. He had bent down to kiss her cheek in greeting as she sat in the armchair, and March had once favoured. Jo had always thought it horridly stiff and very dull. But with the baby due any day, the chair's firm back was blessing, and Meg had made a charming anti-massacre for it. Embroidered all over with the symbols of the fairies from Midsummer Night's Dream, a delicate piece of work Jo knew she could never replicate, but always marveled at. Friedrich held the leaf in his hand to show her, as if she had never seen one before. The way the children would bring their natural discoveries to them. It was splashed unevenly with color, scarlet and flaring gold round the edges. It is maple, I think. It's too red to be beech or aspen, Jo replied. How many more leaves would fall before she held her baby in her arms? She was apprehensive and eager in equal measure, but lumbering about was growing more tiresome daily. And the baby also seemed impatient. The kicks that had once been like a gentle tap, replaced with forceful pushes. She could not tell if they were gleeful or frustrated, but she could understand both attitudes. She now often felt the obvious angle of a heel or elbow pressing instantly against her firm belly. A sensation so strange, she had caught Friedrich's attention to it immediately, and they both laughed when Jo announced she had new sympathy for the Bastille. Yes, but why should I find it in thy hair? Thou must not tax thyself with the children and their antics, he said, pulling over a little footstool and lifting her slippered feet onto it before he sat across from her on the sofa. She missed sitting beside him, her face laid against his tweed coat, but it had become apparent that rising from such a situation was now beyond her, and she must sit like a queen in splendid isolation. She had not been able to lace her own boots for over a month, nor wear them at all for a week. Mommy had said it must be soon, but Jo had her doubts. It seemed she would never again be the light-footed woman who loved to trapeze the woods, and she had impatiently dashed away tears in her eyes at the thought, and ate the biscuit Franz had brought her as Uncle taught me to, Aunt Jo. He said, too, must keep thy strength, and the baby might have need of an extra biscuit now and then. I wondered if I might as well bitte mein lieber Tantchen. She had sent Franz back to the kitchen to fetch another ginger biscuit for himself and a mug of milk for them both. He was an easily contented child, Franz, though he needed more petting than Emil, and wouldn't ask for it as readily as the sweet. "You mustn't worry, Fritz. I only walked into the garden to sit and let them play with the leaves around me. I fear Mohammed has become the mountain, but I did like to get a little fresh air at the smell of the leaves. Watching them flickering through the air, I liked it. I missed it," she said, and felt the tears rise to hear herself whining a little. Her hand balanced on her greatly rounded belly, her full breasts straining the bodies that she could let out no further. The baby had begun to stir, as he often did when she was quiet. She could not bring herself to imagine what this would mean for the night after the birth, but thought, at least then, Friedrich would be willing to take a turn, carrying the child. It suited her every time, the image of his dark head, bent to regard the small, sweat-out baby in his arms, his sure hand behind the baby's fragile neck, as Jo had seen John hold all 3 of his children. Josephine, heart's dearest, what good work you are doing. How good a mother you are already, to all our children. I promise thee, it will not be so much longer, and next autumn we will take the little one out with us to watch leaves fall while Franz and Emil play in the garden, he said. Friedrich leaned forward to take her hand in his, and said in a lower voice, I would like to take a dozen leaves from thy bright autumn hair, and let them be scattered in the bed with us. Oh, Jo exclaimed sharply, what is it? Have I distressed thee with such talk? I beg thy pardon. I thought thou would be pleased, he said, worried and apologetic, regarding her closely. She laughed at his dear, concerned face, lifted a hand to his bearded cheek. No, Fritz, it is only as two were being so much tender lover. The baby kicked as hard as I can remember, like an ornery mule. I gather we should leave off our love-making for a time, if we are to be so rudely interrupted, she explained, and he smiled, laid a hand on the lower curve of her belly, warm through the brown delaine. Then I shall save this leaf to brought with thee as a reminder that we had to forego such delights this season, and how we must compensate next October. He replied with the amused, provocative tone he only ever took with her, that she loved, and tucked the leaf into the pocket of his fawn vest, and put a soft kiss into the palm of her hand. The end. Thank you for listening. Take care and make good choices. Bye.